This is Algebra 2 test for week number 5 from lesson 1.1 through 1.7 study guide. First question asks, which number is a solution of the inequality? First thing you need to do is get x's value by itself. So we have 3x minus 15 is greater than or equal to 3. Treat it just like it's an equal sign in the middle. Do everything the same. Undo your addition and subtraction. We have minus 15. We want to bring to the other side. You undo minus something by adding 15. You do it to both sides. We have 3x on the left. 3 plus 15 is 18. And minus 15 plus 15 canceled out. You just have to check with inequalities to make sure you don't have to reverse your symbol. All we did was added something. We didn't multiply or divide, and it wasn't by a negative number, so we'll leave it alone. Then get x by itself by doing the inverse of 3 times x and dividing by 3. If you do it to one side, do it likewise to the other. That leaves you with x. 18 divided by 3 is 6. Again, check to make sure you don't have to reverse it. We divided this time, which was one of the parts, but it was by positive 3's. Therefore, you leave it alone. So x is greater than or equal to 6. Notice that that's not the answer. You have to choose an answer that is a solution, something that is greater than or equal to 6. This is a negative value. This one's out. 5 is not greater than. That one's out. 6 over 11 is not even one whole, so that one's too small. D, 6. D as in dum-dum is the correct answer for number 1. 6, greater than or equal to. Number 2 says to solve the inequality, then graph your solution. This is a compound inequality. You got a middle, a left, and a right. Anything you do to the middle, you have to make sure to do to the right. So we have negative 2, we have less than, we got 4x minus 10 in the middle, and we got less than 6. Undo the minus 10, any addition and subtraction first by adding 10 here, here, and here. Once you do that, this gives you 8 here. Is less than 4x. No reason to reverse the symbols. All we did was add. Is less than 6 plus 10 is 16. Divide by 4 in all 3 sections. 8 divided by 4 is 2. 4 divided by 4 is just going to be x by itself. And 16 divided by 4 is 4. No reason to reverse the symbols again, because all we did was divide by a positive 4. So we'll leave it as less than and less than. So this is what it should look like as an inequality, and we have that when you can see D says that when 2 is less than x is less than 4. It also says to graph your solution. The easiest way to graph is to look at this one right here. X is less than 4. You can see on 4, we have ourselves a bubble. Look how small your graph is. It's a bubble, and it says less than. It's showing everything going this direction. Then look at the other side and read it from the variable. It says x is greater than 2. If you have to reverse them, put x first and 2 second, and make sure the big mouth's eating the x, because that's how it looks. The one we have circled is eating the x. X is greater than 2. You can see again an open bubble, and everything greater than is that way. This graph, therefore, as small as it looks, this graph you can see is colored in between those 2 bubbles. So D is the correct answer for number 2 as well. Number 3 says the absolute value of D plus 2 is greater than or equal to 6. Okay, we have ourselves a greater than one. Remember, greater than means or. So D plus 2 is greater than or equal to 6. Notice we didn't do anything with that one except take off the absolute value symbols. The other one is going to be or. D plus 2, nothing changes with that. We're going to reverse the symbol, make it say less than or equal to, and we're going to change 6 into negative 6. So we're going to simplify or solve both of those. Undo plus 2 by subtracting it on both sides. D is greater than or equal to 4 for this one. Subtract 2 on both sides of this one. D is less than or equal to negative 8. So we have 2 inequalities separated by or. D is greater than or equal to 4, or D is less than or equal to negative 8. So we have more than one option that's true right there. You look at them and see. The only one that's not true as far as looking at it is this one. This is the only one that's got them backwards. Oh, it says 4 and 4. It doesn't even have 8. All the other ones say D is, no, this one's not. This one says greater than negative 8. That's not it. Those 2 are the same, those C and D. So we have to make sure our graphs are correct now. So D is greater than or equal to 4. So at 4, notice this one has a bubble and this one has a bubble, and it's showing everything greater than them. But for C, it's an open bubble. And since this one says greater than or equal to, you have to color in the bubble. That's what makes this one incorrect. D, again, is the correct answer for that one. The absolute value of 2x plus 9 is less than 25. Less than is an and inequality. If you forget which one's and which one's or, use the test to figure it out. Notice that your answer choices for 3 and 4. Your answer choices all said or on them. Your answer choices for 4 all say and on them. It's all the ones in between. So what we want to do is 2x plus 9 is less than 25. That's the first one, just like it's written without the inequality symbols. Make it easy on yourself. Whatever direction that one was going, this one goes the same way. Except instead of being 25, it'll be negative 25. Undo all your operations in reverse. Undo plus 9 by subtracting 9 here. Do it here and here as well. 25 minus 9, same signs, you're going to add them up. You're going to get 34 there is less than 2x. 25 minus 9, separate sign or opposite signs now, so we're going to subtract them. 15 minus 9 is going to be 6, and you're going to have 1 left over. Again, no reason to reverse the symbol because all we did was subtract 9. Get rid of 2 times something by dividing everything by 2. Divide this and divide the left side and right side as well. 34 divided by 2 is 17, is less than x, is less than 16 divided by 2 is 8. Here's your inequality written right here. 17 is less than x is less than 8. Oh, excuse me, everybody. I just noticed. Negative 25 minus 9 is going to be negative 34. This one's going to be negative 17. Excuse me. But negative 17 is less than x is less than 8. Okay, so that eliminates A and D for you. You have to choose between C and B. Notice C is greater than for all of them, so that one's out as well. Make sure your graphs match for B, just so we make sure there wasn't a mistake. This one says X is, if you ignore one side and just look here, X is less than 8. So this looks like it's approximately 8 right here. Less than 8, it's an open bubble, and it's shading. You can see it's shading everything this direction. The other one says X is, if you reverse this one, X and negative 17. The big mouth's eating this one. X is greater than negative 17. Again, negative 17, this is kind of at negative 17. It's in between 15 and 20. It's an open bubble, again, and it's showing everything this direction. So you can see the overlapping area between the two bubbles. Therefore, B is the correct answer for that one. Write the inequality in words. However you would read this out loud is what you're going to write down. So 5n minus 10. And this is really the part it wants to make sure that you know. It wants to make sure that you know how to say this next symbol. Not just say that arrow that goes that way or whatever. No. Is greater than 26. 5n minus 10 is greater than 26. Remember, if you get confused which one is which, when you write them side by side, you can write the word or you can write the two words less than with this one. You can't do it with greater than. Write an inequality for the graph. So this is backwards right here. This is saying you always put x first and put whatever number we're at, negative 6. Then we have to just plug something in right there. We got to plug ourselves a symbol in right there. If x is first, and you don't try to put the number first, if you always put the variable first, whichever direction this is going is going to be whatever the symbol is. So x is less than negative x. The only other thing you got to check after that is make sure if it's an open bubble or a closed bubble. If it's an open bubble, you don't put or equal to underneath it. If it's a closed bubble, you do. Therefore, it's simply x is less than negative 6. Number 7, simplify by combining like terms. Before you combine like terms, you have to distribute 2 times 2y and 2 times negative 8. So now we have some like terms, 4y and positive 6y. When you put 4 and 6 together, you're going to get 10y. minus 16. You cannot take 10y and subtract 16 from it and get any form of the number negative 6 because those are not like terms. You can only subtract things that have the same variable with the same exponent. Number 8 says solve the equation. Negative y minus 17 equals negative 12 plus 6y. Typically, we'll bring our smaller variable over to our larger variable side. When we're doing inequalities, we usually don't do that. We'll leave them on the right. But that says negative y, which means negative 1y. We add a y to both sides. Do it there and here. And you have negative 17 left over there. Still have negative 12 on the right, but now we got positive 7y. You brought negative y over, so we'll bring negative 12 to the other side. It's negative or minus, so you add 12y. If you do it there, do it here as well. Negative 17 plus 12, opposite sign, subtract them. You get negative 5 equals, this part right here goes away, 7y. Then get y by itself by dividing to cancel out, multiply by 7. You do it to the right, do it to the left, and y is isolated, or it's by itself now. There's no number that's going to go into negative 5 and 7, so we can simply leave it as the fraction negative 5 over 7. 2y plus 13 equals negative 6 times y minus 4. Before you try to undo anything with this, you need to simplify one side and the other side. You cannot simplify 2y and 13 because they're not like terms. You don't get 15y out of that. But as we look at the other side, we can multiply or distribute the negative 6 into the parentheses. Times y is negative 6y times negative 4. Negative times a negative is a positive 24. So now the rest of it says equals. We still have 2y plus 13 on the left. Bring your smaller y values over to your larger one side. Negative 6y is smaller than 2y. Undo minus 6y by adding it to both sides. If you do it to the right, do likewise to the left. 2y and 6y is 8y. We still have plus 13 there. Equals, that cancels out, 24. Undo plus 13 by subtracting it. If you subtract it from the left, subtract it from the right. We still have 8y on the left. 13 is gone. Equals 24 minus 13 is 11. Get rid of 8 times something by dividing by 8. If you do it to the left, do it to the right. Again, there's no number that goes into both 11 and 8. Even though it's improper, it is reduced. Remember, there's also another version of that answer. 1 and 3/8 would be just as good. And whatever the decimal equivalent of 3/8 would work as well. You have to distribute both sides, or you have to distribute both of these parentheses for number 10. Not both sides of the equal sign, but both parentheses. 6 times x is 6x. 6 times negative 0.8 is like negative 48, but you have a decimal in the middle because it's not negative 8, it's negative 0.8. Also distribute negative 0.2 to those is negative 10x or negative 1.0x. Negative 0.2 times negative 8, a negative times a negative is a positive. Would be like it'd be like 8, but since it's a decimal, it's positive 0.8. Equals negative 2. Then we can combine like terms and clean this problem up a whole bunch. 6x combines with 1x or negative 1x. Don't forget the negative to get 5x. Negative 4.8 combines with positive 0.8 to give you a negative 4.0 equals negative 2. Now we have a simple equation just like the ones we've been doing. Get x by itself by moving the minus 4 over by adding it. If you add it to the left, add it to the right. Negative 2 plus 4 is positive 2. You still have 5x on the left. Get rid of 5 times something by dividing by 5. Do it to the left, do it to the right. X is 2 over 5. No number goes into both of those.